I'm gonna be doing something a little bit different this time since it is October, which means in my life that it's Halloween basically. So I thought a story time would be great. And I wanted to give you a spooky story. So heads up for anybody out there who gets scared easily. Trigger warning. This might frighten anybody. Like it frightened me, so it might frighten you. I'm just letting you know. This is a true story. This is honestly something that personally happened to me, my sister, and my best friend, okay? So this is actually like a multi-part story. I'm just gonna tell you guys kind of part one, okay? And then later on in this month, since it is the month of Halloween, I will give you guys the rest of the story. So this happened, but this is not all that happened, basically is what I'm trying to say. So when I was younger, my sister and my best friend lived together in this house in this like really small town. This particular house, my sister and my best friend were looking for somewhere to live, and they were like, oh great, we found this cute little house, like it's adorable, it's really cheap. That should be a trigger number one to tell you something's not right. But it was like cheaper than anywhere else that they had found. It was not month to month rent, it was actually week to week rent. So they were actually looking for like a bigger place at the time. But they were like, well, this will be perfect and it'll help us save our money, and we're not signing like a long-term year contract or anything like that. So when we decide to move, we can get out of it. Logical thinking for a 20-year-old, right? Right. Well, this guy, the particular man that they rented the house from, which I guess would be their landlord, he basically told them when they rented it, like, thank God you guys came along. I was about to try to sell it because I can't keep anyone in here. Apparently, before that, for the past, like, year, he had not been able to keep a tenant in the house for, I don't remember exactly, but I want to say, like, a couple of weeks at a time, and that was it. So, they knew this going in, but they were like, probably because it's just, you know, week to week rent, they probably found something better like we're trying to do. No. So at that point in time, my sister worked really, really odd hours. Like sometimes it would be days that she worked like for a couple of days, and then she'd be off and then work nights. So it was just really odd hours and everything. And my best friend, she has always been a vet tech. Like that's what she does. So she has like normal business hours. So anytime my best friend would be home alone and my sister would be at work or anything like that, I would go hang out because it was not like the best neighborhood. But I mean, like, what am I gonna do? I was like, literally, my arm was paralyzed and I was in a sling. So I don't know what I was gonna do, but I would go hang out with her for just comfort, like somebody else being there. So like, hey, if you're gonna die, I'll die with you, no problem. And my sister has a son who she at that point shared custody of with his mother. So he would come over on the weekends or whenever she was off of work and stay with them. So he had his own bedroom. Like, thank goodness he was not there. He was with his biological mom at that point. But he had a bunch of toys. Obviously, he was like, I don't even remember. I think he was like 5 years old. So he had a lot of like 5-year-old little boy toys. Like in particular, this one little guitar that you just like press the buttons on and it played songs and music and stuff. It was really cute. I liked playing with it. This was around the time of Halloween also. Like, mind you, like this was right around the time of Halloween, which is why this is not the only part to the story, because all of this happened around the same time of Halloween. So my best friend is in love with Halloween, like obsessed, like scary movie fanatic, like yeah. So they're going to sleep. My sister's already knocked out. My best friend's like, whatever, I'm gonna keep watching Paranormal Activity or whatever it was. I think that was it. So she's just watching her scary movie, and all of a sudden here's my sister's son's little guitar start playing, and she knows that sound obviously because when he's over, he used to play with that all the time. We all knew exactly what it sounded like. So she hears the guitar start playing and she's like, wake up, wake up. She wakes my sister up out of a dead sleep, and my sister's like, what's your problem? I don't get it. And she's like, no, The guitar keeps playing in the other room. Something's happening, and I swear it's not because I'm watching this movie. I promise. So at first, like, my sister has always been like, whatever. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in spirits. Like, I don't, like, haunted houses don't bother her. Nothing. So she wakes up and she's like, it's playing. What? All right. So she hears it play after she wakes up, and she goes in there to look, and she's like, well, nothing's around it. So in her sleepy state, she took the batteries out of the guitar, set them all the way in the kitchen on the kitchen counter, and went back to bed. Done, you know, like, guitars in baby's room and the batteries are all the way over here. So whatever, you know, no more problem, whatever. No sooner did she, like, get back into the bedroom, shut the door, and lay down and was like, okay, I took care of it, the thing started playing again. No batteries. It doesn't, like, charge up anyway. So, like, it just started playing with no batteries in it, when if you were a human and tried to press it, it would not work. It wouldn't work. So I didn't know this. I wasn't there that night. I came over the next day. So when I get there, my best friend's trying to tell me what happened. And she's like going on and on telling me the story. And I'm like, that is so weird. We're playing a card game in the living room. And I don't know what it was. I think it was one of the little kid's balls just rolled from his room into the living room, like right next to where we're playing cards. And I was like, so I'm like, oh, we're not alone. Like, we're just, like, that's the only explanation. We're not alone. And since it's, like, constantly playing with toys, or that's the only thing it's done so far, I'm thinking it's a little kid ghost. Because why? Because I was young and I was an idiot. Don't just assume something is a little kid, because a lot of times much dangerous things will, like, present themselves in the form of little kids in order to get you to trust it. Bad thing. Bad Mandy, first of all. So we're playing a card game. This little ball comes rolling up to us, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, hey, Ghosty, you want to come play? Come on, you could come play with us. Not a little kid. Not. Basically, to sum this story up, a lot of other stuff started happening after I invited it. Kitchen doors start, like, slamming open and shut. Like, things start, like, moving throughout the house when no one's in that room. Like, their bathroom was all the way in the back of the house. And, like, when I would go pee, I would be walking out the door, and the door would, like, slam on my butt as I'm going out. Like, don't come back. Like, bye. Just a lot started happening. And the frequency with which it happened picked up so much in such a short time. Like, the first incident with the guitar, they had maybe lived there a week or two. Like, not long. And right after I invited that thing to play with us, all of a sudden, like, bam, like, I just opened the floodgates. Basically. So, at that point, I knew really nothing about the paranormal side. I just knew that my entire life, since I have been a little child, I can sense things, sense presences that I can't see with my own eyes occasionally, but I've never known how to talk to them, or, like, that I shouldn't talk to them. Don't do that. Anyway, so since things started happening with much more rapidity, expedience. We're going to go with expedience, and much more rapidly, commonly, whatever, all those words. We contacted one of our friends who I think she was a medium, and she's like, well, guys, I have, like, an EVP recorder. Like, I'll just come over. Like, she was, like, I guess, trained in talking to spirits and stuff like that. And at this point in time, my best friend's aunt had just passed away. So she's thinking, maybe it's my aunt. Like, maybe my aunt's, like, trying to say, hey, like, trying to get a connection. So that's the second thing we thought that it was. our friend that's a medium that was going to do the EVP came over with another friend of ours who was like her best friend, basically. So we went out and did Halloween-y things that night, which that's going to be for another story because, whoa, that was a lot. So we already had like way too much happen to us that night. And then we get back to their house and she's like, all right, everybody sit in a circle, and she has her EVP recorder and she asks a few like general questions at first to get things started. Like, hey, I'm letting you know that we're here. We want to know what your name is. We want, you know, general questions, whatever. And then she passes the recorder around the circle. There's a big circle of us for everybody to ask what they wanted to ask, I guess. So when I'm sitting right next to my best friend who lives there, and my best friend asks, like, I don't even remember. I don't remember any of the questions anybody asked because they're not important. Anyway, as soon as she got done asking that question, I'm sitting right here next to her. Like, we are like this on the couch, shoulder to shoulder. And you can hear something in between our ears, and there is nothing behind us. We're on the couch against a wall. You can hear right between our two ears something say, I love you. I love you. Oh, my curtain just fell. Oh, I'm getting so freaked out. Sorry, I told you I get so freaked out because every time I tell this story, things start happening. But I will finish. Like, we heard it and the recorder picked it up, both. So especially after something said, I love you, right in between us, she was saying that to me, it's my aunt. Like, it's my aunt. Nope. Not anybody's aunt. Oh, I have the cold chills. I have the cold chills so bad. Can you even see them? Anyway, so we continue around in the circle until everybody's asked their question, whatever, yada yada, da whatever. So I leave that night. I'm not spending the night there. However, the lady that is a medium, who was like in charge of the EVP, and her best friend did spend the night there in the living room on the pull-out couch. And my sister and my best friend went into their bedroom. Like, they made extra careful of whatever sounds were going to be picked up by the recorder were actually going on in the house and were not the people in there. And the next day, I get a phone call. And they're like, you need to, like, come up here because some stuff happened, basically. So I go back up there. And they're like, yeah, we don't know the whole thing. Like, the lady who was doing the EVP took it home and they are listening over it right now, to know all of it. But like, just right off the bat, a few things happened last night, like the ball rolling around. They kept hearing, water running in the tub, like the sound of the bathtub filling up, you know, stuff moving around in the kitchen and stuff like that, and footsteps throughout the house. And also to make sure that you guys know that it wasn't a human being in the house on the EVP. The EVP was not in any of the rooms where anybody was sleeping. It was in the room with the most activity, which was my sister's little boy's room, unfortunately, which that was like right next to the kitchen and the bathroom, and those had the most activity. So it was in that general area, and everybody was sleeping on the opposite end of the house. So I'm like spending time with them. We're like, just, you know, trying not to freak out. At this point, my sister's even a little like, and I told you guys, she doesn't believe in that stuff. So we're hanging out, we're whatever, yada yada, and it's getting really late. And like it was really late, like probably really early in the morning. Anyway, we hadn't heard back from the two ladies that were listening to the EVP. Hadn't heard anything, and it's like, I mean, it was probably like between like 1 and 5 a.m. like at this point. Like, it was super, super late / early in the morning. We had stayed up all night trying to, you know, listen for them when they were done, because they said, we'll call you when we're done and let you know what's going on. Nothing. So finally, it's super freaking late. We're all exhausted, and there's a knock on the door. It was the ladies who did the EVP, and all they could say at that point was, everybody get out of the house. It is not safe for anyone in here. Get whatever you need right now, like that is essential, and you're coming to sleep at my house. You can't stay here. That's not good news. That is not good news. So they wouldn't even tell us what was on there. They wouldn't let us listen to it. They just said, get out. Get out. Nobody should come back into this house. Get out. We have to find you somewhere else to live right now. Basically, at the end of everything, what was on the EVPs, it turned out to be some kind of demonic spirit who had an entire family trapped there, reliving one day over and over and over. If you don't believe in this stuff, okay, but I promise, if you heard what I heard, it was so bad, you guys. It was like a 1940s/1950s, which was when the mill was active and when people just moved into the house. It was the beginning of the tape, kind of sounded like that. Like they were having a party, like you could hear a man come in from work, like, I mean, you could hear all this stuff so clearly on the tape that we couldn't hear with our own ears. You could hear a man come in the door and say, hi, honey, I'm home, something like that, like he's coming home from work. She is in the kitchen. You can hear dishes rattling around, which is probably where the dishes stuff came from. Like, dinner will be ready in a minute. Like, I mean, like very like 40s and 50s type thing. There is some little kid playing, like you can hear a little kid's voice like running around, and like you hear a ball rolling. So I guess that's why the ball was rolling when we were playing cards or whatever. But you hear a little kid, I guess a boy, I don't really know, but it's just a little kid's voice like laughing and like having a good time playing around. And then you hear this old-timey music, like on a piano, like somebody's having like a party and somebody's playing a piano type thing. Do you know what I mean? You know, like back in the 50s or whatever, when they would have like a dinner party, they would have like piano music or something. I don't know, but it was very 50s style music. Anyway, people like laughing and being jovial, like they didn't know. You know, they didn't know any better. I'm doing my very best to remember everything, but basically like they had like a dinner party, and you hear all of it, and you hear these random, like during the dinner party, you hear these random like really hard, like really big footsteps that you're like, that's not a person. Like it's way too hard, and like bam, 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 but they're clearly footsteps, but it's way too much to be a person. You hear that like walking through during all this that's going on. So anyway, once I guess their dinner party was over, or when it sounded like it was over, is when things got real. At that point, like I had said before, we were able to hear like bathtub water running and stuff. That was all on the tapes, like the bathtub turning on. You could even, like, you could tell it was the bathtub. It's an old-timey bathtub. You can hear the squeak of the handle, like, eh! And then the water flowing out of the faucet. You can hear it filling up. You know how you can tell a difference between when the water's hitting the bottom of the tub and when it's high up, filled up, whatever. You know what I mean. Okay, I'm sorry, it happened again. I keep having to stop the camera and jump up because my dogs are going insane while I tell this. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, so you hear people drowning. Like if I am remembering correctly, you could hear each person in the family as they're being drowned in the bathtub. Yeah, it was like gruesome. Like really, like I've never heard somebody drowning in real life before, but it was like they were in front of me. Like it was so weird. Anyway, so you heard people drowning in the bathtub. After that is done, I guess everybody's gone. That was trapped in the house, at least. you hear these, you know, I mentioned those huge footsteps again, like the bam, 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 walking through the house. It walks right up to the recorder, whatever this thing is. It walks right up to the recorder. You can hear the footsteps, bam, bam, like so loud and heavy, like you know it's not, like a human cannot make that loud of footsteps. I don't care how heavy of a big man you are or anything, like it ain't happening. It's not like anything you've ever heard before, but you could distinctly tell that they were footsteps of some kind. So the footsteps walk right up to the recorder, and you hear this just non-human growling. Like, I can't even do it. I'm gonna try to do it. Like I can't even do it. It sounds multi-dimensional. Whereas like you hear the growl here, but then it sounds like it's growing into different growls in the same growl. Does that even make sense? I feel like I'm crazy, but I swear this is what happened. And then you hear it say, and I'm going to say it instead of he, because it was not a person. It was not a human voice. It was not a human anything. You can hear it distinctly say, "Here I come." Like, but I can't even do it. I can't even do it justice. But basically, it's in that still multi-dimensional growl that just gives you chills up and down your spine. That is like, it's like, I don't know, like 5 people saying the same thing at once, only if they were a dog or a wolf. I don't know. That makes no sense, but I promise, like, if you understand what I'm saying, leave me a comment down below. If you have ever heard anything like this, let me know. But it was not a human growly voice. It was some kind of otherworldly growly voice and multi-dimensional. And then it says, like, "Here I come," over and over again, like a few times, maybe 3 or 4 times. And then it says something along the lines of, "Here I come, I'm coming for you. Here I come, I got them too." Like, but that's not right because it didn't rhyme. Whatever it was not a nursery rhyme. It didn't rhyme. So that's not right. But it was something like, "Here I come, here I come, here I come. I'm coming for you." And then something about getting the other people. I don't know. It was the most insane thing. And it's like, it's not even like one animal. It was like all the animals in the world together in one voice, like a pig snort along with like dog and wolf growls. And oh my gosh, at the end, there's more stuff. There's more stuff with this demon thing. Playing with the little recorder, playing with the house, playing with the people in the house. At the very end of all this, we didn't even make it to the end, but at the end of what we listened to, like, we couldn't anymore. It was so horrible. It was so, to just know that, number one, like, they were living there with this thing. Number 2, their lives were in danger because that thing made it extremely clear on the recorder that they were his. Because at the very end, the last thing we listened to, it said, "You're mine now." I kid you not, you guys. Yeah. So that is why we never listened to the rest of it. That moment, we were like, and also, please don't go playing in graveyards, because that's our next story. But we'll save that for next time, guys. This has been going on way too long. There is more in that story that I purposefully left out for the sake of I don't feel like it is okay to tell to a public audience. Do you get what I'm saying? But anyways, I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, click that subscribe button. Hit that notifications bell while you're down there, because I don't know that I'll always post on a schedule. So you'll be alerted when I do have a video go up. And I'll talk to you next time. See you later, guys.